because I remember missionaries knocking at my door. Before I saw Jesus, missionaries were knocking at my door, handing out Bibles. And I stood there and listened to them talk. And that was before I was even really into Jesus like that. They knocked at my door, handed me a Bible, and I was, being polite, just smiling, and, like, I can't wait till they go. This is too much. I'm just saying, y'all, this is the truth. And they knocked at the door. All right. And so after the lady left, she left her phone number in the Bible, and I took the Bible. No, I didn't throw it away. I kept it. But then, y'all, shortly after that, one of my daughters, my oldest daughter, got really sick. Real sick. She ended up in the hospital. And before she went into the hospital, I had this dream about an eclipse that was about to crash through her window. Whew. And in the dream, my husband and I were running toward the staircase to try to get up there to her. And I woke up. I said. And I started watching her after that. I was like, I don't know what this dream was about. Hi, you Nina. Is that your name, you Nina? Yeah. And so I don't know what this is about, but I paid attention to her. And I was at my job for a whole year, and I think a year is the longest I've ever been on a job. So if any of y'all been on y'all job for 24 years, 2 years, 3 years, that thing rough to keep these jobs. Hold on to them, though. Keep your benefits and everything. Make sure you got 401k, have it all. Get it all. Don't just let them work you to death. All right. And so, yeah. It's just, I was at my job for a year. And then my daughter had begun to get sick with this fever that we didn't know what it was. Taking her back and forth to the doctor. The doctor was saying they thought it was the flu. They thought it was the flu. And she had gotten so bad she could barely walk after a while. My aunt, rest her soul, she raised me. Passed away, gone now. But she told me, she said, you make sure you take that girl back to the hospital because ain't nobody running around with no flu. Can't hardly walk like that. It was a feisty lady. I'm glad, if anybody had to raise me, I'm glad it was her. Feisty. Loved you, but she was spicy. But so I took her back to the hospital. And then all the doctors came rushing in, listening to her heart. And I knew we were on to something. Anytime you see like a whole lot of, hey, Wilfredo, see a whole lot of doctors come rushing in at one time, so they see something, heard something. And so, hey, Patrice, Tankard. We know that they knew something. And so once all the doctors listened and, figured out what was going on and what they thought to be going on, her regular doctor came in to talk to us, and he told us, we believe she has rheumatic fever. Or he may have told us at that time that we wanted to get evaluated more. So we went to a heart doctor, and I believe she diagnosed that. And we're still friends to this day, even though my child was 5 years old at the time, and it's been over 20-something years. That doctor and I are still good friends. So my daughter had rheumatic fever. So God comes and tell you different things in dreams. Your dreams mean something. So make sure you write your dreams down and pray about them and see what it is God is trying to tell you. Hi, Megan. Yeah. And so when we ended up in the hospital to stay, that's where I started praying more at. Right there. Because they set my daughter on a Make-A-Wish Foundation trip and everything. They were talking about it, and we actually did go. But, from my experience, most of the children from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, are not looking to live, right? And I felt helpless at that time. I was like, my little small daughter, depends on me. What can I do as a mother at this time besides just being here? And I remember all of the ministries, all on TV, all hearing my grandfather preach, just things that you've heard coming up about what Jesus can do. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all ministries, just keep going. Even though people act like they don't understand, they don't get it, they'll come back to your ministry one day in their head, and it'll help change things around, because it did for me. Yes. When I think back to that, I just, oh my goodness, child. Woo! Thank you, Jesus. Can anybody on here say, thank you, Jesus, this morning? Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. If it had not been for the Lord who's on our side, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Praise you. Thank you. And so I got on my knees and I started praying. I said, Jesus, if you are real, this is your time to show me. See, I'm one of them show me people. You could talk and all this stuff. I heard what they said, what the people said they seen, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm saying I need that kind of miracle happening for me right now, for my daughter. I'm on my knees praying right there beside her bed while she's laying there. She's a hyper child too, and I remember at that time too, me talking about her being hyper all the time, her being hyper, and I regretted talking about her being hyper, because she went from being hyper to couldn't even walk. They even wanted her to be in a wheelchair. Just imagine a hyper child going from being hyper. God is amazing, Patrice. He is. Hey, Moses. He is amazing. Went from being inside of a wheelchair. Only things you see on some of these fake ministries, how people get out the wheelchair and run. I ain't talking about none of that. I'm talking about, I pushed her inside of the little playroom. After me praying, I pushed her inside the little playroom. Might have been the next day when I pushed her in the playroom. She got out of her wheelchair and ran inside the room and started playing as if she was never sick. So y'all, with those ministries who get people to run out the wheelchair, you don't need to do no fake stuff. Even though if God doesn't hear your child, and right there when y'all are in the middle of y'all prayer, just understand he makes things happen when he's ready. It might be the next day, it might be the next second, but the point is, you don't need to do none of that fake stuff, because the real stuff is already out there. It's already out there. Hi, Gabriel. Trying to say your name right. Gabrielito. I'm going to say that. Yeah. God is so amazing. It's so amazing. Anytime I can cry like this 20-something years later, and if y'all could see my daughter, how she's thriving, she was 5 years old. She was 5 years old at that time. Grown-ass woman now. I look at her, she inspires me. She inspires me. Every time I look at her and when she began, how she started. She is a miracle. She's a walking miracle. She got out of her wheelchair and she ran into the playroom and just was playing. Look, I know what it was, because anytime the doctors are saying this and saying that, and then she gets up and run, we still spend some time in the hospital and everything. But